Ice out of the bay!
Today we're looking at the recent anti-ICE protests that took place at the immigration courts in San Francisco. I'm going to be comparing the actual events that took place and compare it to the way the leftist media is covering the events.
You could just see the ICE guys going wild with the batons and pushing through the crowd, grabbing people's bikes and using them to hit people and stuff.
He frames it as if ICE is just attacking people in the streets, but in the footage you can clearly see protesters jumping onto ICE vehicles, blocking the immigration court doors and obstructing ICE agents from doing their job. When in doubt, the left will always resort to the victim card.
Another San Francisco driver who got out of his truck to yell at protesters said he's tired of demonstrators constantly blocking traffic.
People can't get to work and be a normal person. That's what I'm upset about.
These unemployed protesters block the roads and sidewalks for people who actually contribute to society. And the protesters don't give a damn about hard-working Americans. They live at home with their parents and cause chaos in the streets to support illegals.
The ICE information table organizer says that inconvenience is nothing compared to what he believes these detainees are facing as they try to legally apply for citizenship or asylum.
They're doing everything they can to be here legally, and for following the procedures, they're getting abducted.
He says they are being abducted, which is an outright lie and a manipulation tactic from the left. They refuse to say the illegals are being arrested for their crimes because that would mean they would need to admit to being wrong. And that, of course, goes against every fibre in their being. These people have been in the country for years and years and made no attempt to become documented, and now the long overdue justice is finally being served.
We still do not know why that man was detained.
Based on the video evidence, I'd say he was either A, an illegal immigrant, or B, obstructing ICE operations.
Even before the larger confrontations began, a San Francisco man who was on his way to work says he was hit by an unmarked ICE SUV in a crosswalk.
Can I have his badge number and name?
He says he now plans to take that agent to court.
I was in the crosswalk. That's my zone. I was a pedestrian in the intersection.
Were you one of the many pedestrians jumping onto the hood of ICE vehicles? Could that possibly explain how you were struck by a vehicle? You look like a fairly old man, and yet you're still walking after being, quote, struck by an SUV. Story's not adding up, bro.
Dozens of people arrested outside immigration court in Manhattan tonight, hours after ICE agents detained several people in its field office.
Now let's switch from the San Francisco protests to the New York City protests and see what tactics the media is deploying to deceive its viewers.
People say, oh, let them come in legally. And when they try to come in legally and follow the court proceedings, they're being kidnapped.
There they go, immediately pulling the kidnapped card when they are, in fact, being arrested for their crimes. They entered the country illegally, which is a crime. They are being lawfully detained and deported. Don't like it? Then stop breaking into the country illegally.
The protests come hours after witnesses report several people were taken into custody inside the ICE field office in Lower Manhattan.
I've been working here for a couple of years, and I've never seen either this many agents, let alone agents dressed in plain clothes, wearing masks, pulling people out of line. It's totally out of the ordinary.
That's because the ordinary under previous administrations was to not enforce federal immigration law. When millions of people flood into the country under Biden, then the only solution is to mass deport people to undo the catastrophic damage.
It's a catch-22. You don't show up for your court hearing, then you also then could be ordered removed from the country.
If only there was a solution to this dilemma, like maybe not entering the country illegally in the first place. We finally have a president who doesn't reward people for breaking the law. Arresting them at their court hearing is the safest way to do it for the officers and for those being arrested. If it's done on the streets, there's a much higher chance of the illegals using violence against the officers.
Under the Trump administration, advocates say it is becoming increasingly common for ICE to arrest and detain migrants.
Yeah, that's the entire reason people voted for him.
A spokesman for the city's public schools told me the city does not ask families to disclose, nor does it track students' immigration status, and that staff did not provide any information on this student to federal authorities.
Great. So they want to burden taxpayers with the schooling of illegal immigrants in public school. This should be a crime, and something needs to be done. We already pay way too much in taxes, and now we are paying for illegals to go to school. You got to be bloody kidding me.
Our schools remain safe, and we encourage families to continue to send their children to school.
That's code for we house illegal immigrants in our schools, and we refuse to cooperate with federal law enforcement. We don't give a damn about hard-working Americans, and if you live in our county, you will be forced to fund illegals through your tax dollars.
City policy requires ICE to provide a signed judicial warrant before entering school property, which City Hall says has not ever happened under this administration.
They are literally harboring illegals inside of a school that's paid for by tax-paying Americans. New York City is the worst, and these corrupt school board members and politicians need to be thrown in jail. This is a slap in the face to Americans everywhere.
These buildings have essentially ceased to be courthouses. These buildings are essentially abduction traps.
Abduction traps my arse. These people are in the country illegally and are being lawfully arrested for doing so. Lying comes way too easily to these people. It's honestly disturbing to watch.
Goldman says immigration officials have been emboldened by the passage of President Trump's, quote, big, beautiful bill, which devotes tens of billions of additional dollars to hiring and giving bonuses to immigration agents and setting up more detention facilities and overall encouraging more aggressive immigration enforcement.
In other words, the bill is working exactly as intended, and these anti-American activists can't stand it. They hate that we have borders and national pride. They hate our country, but want to fight to stay here illegally. It's insanity, isn't it?
A horrific bill that will take health care, food assistance, school loans away from everyday Americans.
Ironic that he is upset about the tax burden of the bill, but doesn't give a damn about the massive tax burden that millions upon millions of illegal immigrants have on taxpayers every single year. This bill will actually save the taxpayer money in the long run, after we undo the damage done by Sleepy Joe and previous administrations.
And during a cabinet meeting today, President Trump continues to cast the mass deportation effort as targeting criminals and the worst of the worst, despite what we have seen even today with our very own eyes.
If you're here illegally, you are a criminal. End of story. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Crime Chef out.